In a small village, nestled between rolling green hills and a whispering river, there lived an old woman everyone feared. They called her mad, a witch, a curse upon the land. Her name was Mama Nkiru. She walked the dusty paths alone, her lips moving to silent songs, her feet dancing to a rhythm only she could hear. Her clothes were always black, always torn, fluttering around her thin frame like the wings of a crow. When she appeared, the village would scatter. Mothers would pull their children inside, bolting their doors. Neighbors would huddle together, their whispers weaving terrible stories about her. They said she soured the milk, blighted the crops, and spoke to spirits in the dead of night. They blamed every misfortune, from a dry well to a sick goat, on Mama Nkiru. The children, mimicking their parents' fear, would throw stones from a distance and chant cruel names until she disappeared from view. But what the village never knew was that Mama Nkiru was not evil. She was simply lost in a world of her own, a world built from the fragments of a life shattered by grief. Years ago, she was not the feared woman in black. She was a loving wife and the joyful mother of a little girl named Adana. Adana was her sun, her moon, and all her stars. The girl's laughter was the sweetest music, her smile the brightest light in Mama Nkiru's world. They would sing together, dance in the rain, and tell stories under the vast starry sky. Then, one day, a sudden fever swept through the village, and it took Adana away. The light in Mama Nkiru's life went out. Her husband, unable to bear the weight of their shared sorrow, left the village and never returned. Left alone, the world became a colorless, silent place for Mama Nkiru. The songs she once sang with her daughter became mournful hums to herself. The dances they shared became solitary, swaying motions in the wind. The vibrant clothes she once wore were replaced with black, a constant reminder of the darkness that had consumed her heart. She wasn't speaking to evil spirits. She was talking to Adana, keeping her memory alive in whispered conversations. She didn't curse the crops. She would often be seen near the fields, touching the young sprouts gently, remembering how Adana loved to watch things grow. The strange herbs she gathered were not for dark potions, but to make poultices for the stray animals she cared for in her secluded hut, the only creatures that didn't run from her. One day, a young boy named Kenne fell into the river while chasing a butterfly. The current was strong, pulling him under. Villagers screamed from the bank, too scared to jump into the raging water. But from the edge of the woods, a figure emerged. It was Mama Nkiru. Without a moment's hesitation, she plunged into the cold, swirling river. Her thin arms fought against the current, her eyes fixed on the spot where the boy had disappeared. She reached him, grabbed his small shirt, and with a strength no one thought she possessed, dragged him back to the riverbank. As Kin coughed up water, safe and sound in his mother's arms, the villagers stared at Mama Nkiru in stunned silence. She was shivering, her black rags clinging to her, but her eyes were clear. For the first time, they didn't see a witch. They saw a hero. They saw a woman who had just saved a child, their child. From that day on, everything changed. The whispers stopped. The fearful glances were replaced with looks of gratitude and shame. The village chief, leading the elders, went to her hut. They brought gifts of food, new clothes, and wood for her fire. They sat with her, and for the first time they asked for her story. As she spoke of Adana, tears streamed down her face, and for the first time the villagers cried with her. They finally understood her pain. Mama Nkiru was no longer the village witch. She became their grandmother, their no. The children, once her tormentors, now brought her flowers and sat at her feet, listening to her stories, not of curses, but of a little girl named Adana who loved to laugh. She taught them the songs she used to sing and the dances she used to dance. The black clothes were eventually replaced with colors. Slowly at first, a touch of blue, a hint of yellow, as life and light began to seep back into her world. The village learned a powerful lesson, that behind the face of what we fear, There is often a story we simply do not know, and sometimes the greatest kindness is to simply listen. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more tales that explore the depths of the human spirit. See you next time.